Hey, it's your friend Lindsay. Welcome to How to Grow My Small Business, where we grow our businesses and our faith. Stick around and I'll show you how to take intentional action to grow your business. Hey friends, did you know that 85% of jobs and business opportunities come from relationships and not marketing funnels or ads? Yet, most small business owners are spending the majority of their time posting content that never ever converts. In today's episode, I'm breaking down networking and relationship marketing and why it is quietly outperforming social media for so many small business owners. I'm Lindsay Fletcher, your relationship marketing and sales growth strategist. I teach you how to grow your network, market your business to attract the right leads, and close sales without feeling pushy or salesy, without working more, and certainly without posting more. How'd you like the new intro music, by the way? I haven't had one for a little while because somehow I lost the file to my old intro music. So I thought I'd change it up a little bit and do something a little bit different this time. So let me know what you think, okay? If you have been around here for a while, thank you so much for joining me again this week. I love spending this time with you. And if this is your first episode, welcome to the family. But I do need to tell you something, okay? The first episode is on me. And if you decide that you want to listen to more, then we'll do a quick little gentleman's handshake, so to speak, and you'll hit the follow button on your favorite podcast app, okay? You'll hit follow, and I'll keep hitting publish and sharing all of the things that I've learned as a small business owner over the years. Do we have a deal? Okay, awesome. All right, let's dive into today's topic: relationship marketing or networking. I want to talk about why networking is working better than ever. And you've heard me talk about trust a lot on this podcast. And trust is really the most important currency in building a business. You've heard me and probably many other people out on the internet and on Instagram and all the places say that we are in a trust recession. And it's sort of a buzzword, but it is definitely true. People are not trusting as quickly as they used to. And I think there's several reasons, but one is the AI generated content that is everywhere. And we really don't know what's real and what's fake anymore. Even the fake stuff looks real, right? So trust is so much harder to earn. And then on top of that, you have the algorithms on social media that are feeding all of us more and more ads that sometimes it feels like that's all we see in our feeds, right? I don't know how many of you follow Jenna Kutcher. She's really big in the marketing, the internet online business marketing space. And even her ads are saying things like, you keep posting content that no one sees. I mean, yikes. Like, that's someone who has a massive following. And even she is sick of the lack of ROI on social media, right? So this episode is especially for local businesses, service providers, coaches and consultants, and really anyone that is tired of posting and not seeing a return on your investment, whether that's time, energy, and or money, right? Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that this is actually a biblical business principle. Growing your network is a biblical business principle. If you think about the most viral message on earth, Jesus's life and his message and his story, right? How has that message gotten out to millions and millions and millions of people? Well, I'll tell you. First, he has had over 2,000 years for this message to spread, right? We don't have that kind of time. I'm not talking about the time frame here. But let's talk about when he started his ministry. He started with 3 disciples. And then there were 12 disciples. And then the 12 disciples became 70 or 72, depending on the manuscript, right? But the 12 became 70 or 72. And then the Bible says from that 70, it turned into thousands. And then later called the church in multitudes, right? Jesus started his ministry very small and it grew because of the network that was built. Each person that he came in contact with then told 1 to 3 to 100 other people, right? That's called a network. I actually, before we move on, I have a free resource and I don't want to forget to tell you about it on this topic that I'd love to share with you. It's a relationships marketing checklist. You can find it at lindsayfletcher.co/RM checklist. That's RM for relationship marketing. So it's lindsayfletcher.co/RM checklist. Okay. I could just end the episode right there because God showed me that network that was being built and the concept that's woven through scripture and building networks and is expanding your reach. And I'm not going to go through scripture today, but this is absolutely a biblical business principle. And there are people out there that still think that networking doesn't work. So let's talk about the five most common reasons, or the five reasons that I see why people, and maybe you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's me. I don't think it works either. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why it may not be working for you. And then we'll talk about what it is. And then we'll talk about some tips and some action steps that you can take. So let's start with the five mistakes, okay? Five most common mistakes. Number one is trying to get something instead of giving first without the expectation of getting something in return, okay? When we network, we are serving others. And that's also a biblical principle, right? Like we are to serve others without expecting anything in return. Number two, treating events like speed dating and then never talking to the people that you meet again. If you are not willing to build relationships, if you are not willing to invest some time and effort, networking events are never going to work for you, okay? This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? Number three, you have no follow-up plan in place. I talked about follow-up in the last episode and some things to consider. So if you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to episode 104. But you have to follow up to build connections and relationships, and that is crucial in networking, okay? Number four, expecting immediate sales. I'm sorry, friend, if you think that you should get a sale every time you go out and network. That's just not going to happen. It's not the way it works, okay? I talked about trust in the beginning of this episode, and I probably don't need to explain it further, but you know I'm going to. For someone to send business your way, you have to build trust. They aren't going to refer you until they are sure you are going to do a good job and they are sure you are going to take care of the people that they send your way. And that street goes both ways, right? Other people should not expect you to refer your people to them until you trust them. And sometimes that takes time to build, right? Okay. Mistake number five is collecting business cards and learning nothing about who is actually in the room. Again, making sure that you are getting to know people and that you are building relationships and learning more about them. Okay. So let's talk about what relationship marketing or networking actually is. Relationship marketing or networking is not a get rich quick scheme. Okay. No one is getting rich overnight because they went to one networking event. All right. Relationship marketing is a long-term strategy that will return to you what you put into it, okay? So if you give a lot, you will get a lot in return. You shouldn't expect it, but you will. That's just how it works. This marketing strategy will require consistent touch points. It will require genuine curiosity and strategic follow-up. So if you are someone who is not going to follow up with someone, if you are someone that's not going to get curious and ask questions and make it about them, then this may not be the marketing strategy for you, okay? Relationship marketing is creating trust before you ask for something in return, and often giving before you see anything coming back your way, okay? So there's some basics to think through when you're implementing a relationship marketing strategy in your business. And this is whether you are online or whether you are an in-person business. Okay. You want to think about who are your ideal referral partners, meaning who already serves your ideal client in a different way than you do, and connecting with those types of people or those types of businesses, and looking for ways that you can serve them through collaboration, through connections, and really figuring out how you can serve them. Okay. The other thing I want you to consider is what questions can you ask them to find some common ground to start a meaningful conversation that leads to a relationship. Okay. So be prepared with this before you hop on that networking call on Zoom or before you walk into a room. How can you try to find common ground with other business owners or other people that might be in a space that you are in? And this doesn't have to be a networking specific event like a networking specific Zoom call or a networking specific in person event. This can be at your kids' PTO. This could be at the grocery store, at your church, or any type of volunteering activity that you do, right? It doesn't have to be an organized business to business event. You can literally network anywhere and you can literally build relationships in every space that you walk into, okay? The next thing that I want you to consider is what type of networking that you want to do. One-on-one conversations, or do you want to walk into a room full of people that you don't know so that you can work the room and meet lots of people? I have seen it done masterfully in both ways. For me and my own networking and the way that I'm building my own relationships, I like things to be a little bit more intimate and I really like to dive deep. So I might only meet 3 to 5 people at an event or online, but I've made sure that I would be introduced to the right people before I get there by reaching out to the group leader or someone that I know that's an insider in that group. And if you live in an area where there are no B2B, meaning business to business networking types of events, luckily for me in the Houston area, we are a networking machine here. But I actually host a coffee chat in my local community once a month, and I have somewhere between 10 and 20 ladies show up each time. And most of the time, it's not the same set of ladies. So it expands my network even further. It's a smaller setting where we're able to really get into conversation and how we can really help each other. So I really encourage you, if there is not a networking opportunity that's B2B in your area, wherever you live, create one. All I do is post a Facebook event and share it to my page and inside my online community. And then people just RSVP through the Facebook event. It's easy peasy, okay? I would like to share a couple of tips with you. I want you to ask intentional questions. So listen to ask more questions, not to respond or to try to figure out how you can switch the conversation over to you. Okay. Now listen, you are in sales. We're all in sales. Yep. You're in sales. I said it. You are in sales. So you should use what they say to connect it to what you do and how you serve your clients and customers if you get the opportunity to share, but really make it about other people and really learn about them, okay? Another tip that I would say is be ready to share a resource or make connections for people, okay? Helping someone out without any expectation of anything in return shows that you genuinely care about their success and them as humans, okay? And then I want you to also think through how you're going to take notes, whether that's mental notes or written notes about the people that you meet and what your follow-up strategy is going to look like prior to going there, okay? Now, my own personal rule is that I try to follow up within 72 hours. That gives me plenty of time to think back through our conversation, think intentionally about who I know and how I might be helpful to that person or to that business going forward. And then I always ask to meet for a coffee in person or over Zoom, some way to connect so that we can really dive in and I can learn more about them and they can learn more about me. Okay, here's what happens when you consistently show up in relationship marketing. Opportunities start to emerge. People start to know your name. They start to know what you do, and they will start connecting you with other people that could be helpful for you, okay? But you have to give first. Don't expect anything in return. Don't expect to get a major ROI in the first month or the first maybe 3 months even, right? Referrals will also start to come your way, okay? As people get to know you and as people get to trusting you, they will start sending people your way. And then those sales conversations start feeling much, much easier each time that you go to these events or log in online, okay? Now, let me tell you this. If I had to choose one and only one marketing strategy for growing our local service-based business and growing my own coaching business, this podcast included, right? Networking would be what I would choose. And I mean it. I would choose relationship marketing or networking over social media, over running ads anywhere, over every other marketing strategy. I would choose this over and over and over. Why? Let me tell you. We started our local service-based business from scratch. Literally zero customers, $0 in revenue, zero followers on social media. Across all the platforms, we had zero, all the things, okay? And a little over 3 years later, we are servicing about 250 clients weekly. And we have lots of people who call us for one-time things, okay? We could never, ever have grown so quickly without getting into the networking spaces in our local community so that people could get to know us. They could learn how we work, what our values are, what we stand for, how we treat people, because all of that matters in growing a business, okay? And today, it makes me laugh every time I say this out loud. We have a following of less than 600 people across the social media platforms that we use. Okay. So you can build a business in a way that builds relationships, strong, solid relationships without having to post and post and post. Okay. This is the number one strategy that I recommend over all the others because it works and it literally changed everything for us. If we had not figured this out, we would both be back in corporate America by now. I am 100% positive of that. Okay. So listen to me when I say this. You don't need more followers. You need 3 to 5 strategic relationships. You need to build trust with those people and then expand your network. All right, so here are your action steps because you know I'm not going to end this episode without giving you some action steps because you can have all the greatest strategies in the world, but action is what drives results. Action makes things happen. So here's what I want you to do today or this week, okay? I want you to identify 3 people who you should connect with or reconnect with. Be intentional about who those people are. I want you to send one intentional message to each of them, whether that's an email, text, or a DM or a voice memo, okay? Or pick up the phone and call them. I mean, like, go old school, people. Let's build relationships, right? Okay, let's ask one curious question to each of those people, and then I want you to offer some value without any expectation of anything in return. All right. Listen, Jesus built a network, okay? He did, and his message is the most viral message ever known to man. Now, I'm not trying to compete with Jesus's message, and I know you're not trying to compete with Jesus's message or his reach, okay? Because that would be impossible, and he's had about 2,000 plus years on us, right? We don't have that kind of time. But you can serve his kingdom through your work and by serving other business owners through building really great relationships. So maybe it's time to ask God to show you who you're supposed to build with in this season. What do you think? All right. If you are a female entrepreneur and you're looking for a space to network, I would love to have you in my free online community on Facebook. It's called She Builds Collective. I'll link it in the show notes, but you can go to lindsayfletcher.co/community, and that link will redirect you straight to our online community. Click the join button. Oh, and a reminder that you can download my relationship marketing checklist at lindsayfletcher.co/RM checklist. Okay. All right. If this is your first episode and you found it helpful, here's that gentleman's handshake that comes into play. You're going to go hit the follow button on your podcast app, and I'll keep hitting publish on this podcast. And if you've been around here for a while, will you please share this episode with a small business friend? I really, truly want to help as many Christian women in small business as possible this year, and I'd be so grateful if you'd share an episode. As always, I'm cheering you on to taking imperfect action that will create an income in your business and an impact in your community, wherever that may be. I'm praying for you, and I'm praying for your business, and I'll talk to you next week.